Kita na po yung screen.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so before we start, this is the link or the QR code for the question. If you have any questions, you can just scan the code or enter the code, which is 38790240. Okay. So we'll start in a while. Saglit na, no? Okay. So again, good morning to everyone. Good morning to everyone. I hope you are having a great day. And I hope the past days were all favorable to everyone. So we are now on the last synchronous class for the midterm. So I'll be discussing Module 4, which is how to of teaching. So ito na yung preparatory ninyo for the final requirement, which is the teaching demo. So on the other hand, together with Module 4, Module 5 is already open and ready for access, but this time, asynchronous natin siyang gagawin. So to give you enough time to access Module 5 pa din, so this will be just a very quick discussion just to give you an idea on the different approaches, techniques, and methods of teaching. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can post them on the menti.com, which I have provided yung kanina yung QR code. So let's start. This is the code. Okay. Just scan it and then enter 38790240. Okay, so let's start. So when we hear the word teaching, what comes into your mind? So basically what you will think about is a teacher and a student. How teaching will be done to facilitate learning to the students, and how are we going to teach a particular subject or topic to the students and make sure that the subject or topic that we are discussing is not boring, and at the same time, in order for the topics discussed to be fully understood by the students. So for this week, we will be discussing about the how-to of teaching. So at the end of this module, you should be able to explain the teaching learning process, specifically to distinguish and apply the different principles of classroom management. Okay, wait lang. Okay. So, himayin muna natin yung objective, okay? So, when we say the teaching learning process, it can be said that it is the process by which learning is acquired by the students from the teachers. So, meaning, since it is a process, so it involves several techniques, approaches, and methods in which ito yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon. So, next will be classroom management. So, what do we mean by this? So when we say classroom management, it is where the teachers create and manage the class. And then how the teacher is going to instill to our students yung learning. So it is done to create or facilitate a meaningful academic learning. Kaya kailangan yung proper classroom management. And it should be effective as this may serve as both prevention and intervention method to promote a positive learning outcome for the students. So next slide, let us define first teaching. So teaching refers to actions of someone who is trying to assist others. So who is this someone? This is the teacher. Pero tandaan natin na hindi lang purely si teacher yung pwedeng mag-assist to others. Hindi lang ako as a teacher yung pwedeng mag-teach sa isang tao. Okay? So, pwede rin kayo. Okay? Pwedeng kayo because teaching, pwedeng you're trying to teach your younger brother or sister to ride a bike, how to bake a muffin or a cookie. So, you are teaching pa din. Okay? So, kaya nga in teaching, there is an engagement with learners to enable their understanding and application of knowledge, concepts, and principles. Okay? So, in education naman, or in here sa academe natin, teaching is the concerted sharing of knowledge and experience. So kagaya ito ng ginagawa namin ni Sir Joey sa inyo. We are trying to share a part or our knowledge sa inyo and our experience to you, especially since registered medical technologists na kami. So it is helpful since we can already share our experiences to you as medical technologies, yung mga nangyayari sa laboratory, yung mga naging experiences namin when we are still in the internship period uh, sa klase namin before. Okay? So, you learn something from us kahit papano, and hopefully you are learning something from us. Teaching is also a constant stream of discussions that affect the probability of learning. So for example, kayong dalawa nung barkada nyo, nagdi-discuss kayo, nag-uusap kayo regardless kahit ano man yung topic ninyo. Pero it's yung dun sa discussion ninyo, it's either you learn from the discussion or both of you can learn from each other. May nalalaman ka, sinika sa inyo. So it's not learning yun yung chika na parang chismis, no? Pero based from the discussion, you learn something from each other. All right? So teaching is also an art and a science. So i-add din natin dito yung teaching is a craft. Okay? Teaching is an art, science, and a craft. So bakit teaching is a science? So it is a science because there are particular strategies and practices that researches has shown to be effective in enhancing learning. Hindi lang basta magtuturo. We have to strategize. We have to think of methods and approaches on how we are going to teach our subject effectively. So just like doctors then, no, teachers should use research to inform their practice. So on the individual level, teaching is a science also in that we are constantly collecting data. Di ba? Kapag sa science, ano yung sinasabi natin? It is the collection of data, di ba? So also teachers are constantly sharing data by observing our students in order to see if learning is taking place. So ino-observe din namin kayo na ito bang group na to, ito bang klase na to, may natututunan sa amin? Okay? And how you are going to learn best. And also, like scientists, teachers experiment with new techniques or strategies to see how they work to facilitate learning to our students. And then, why is it an art naman? So, it is an art naman because we bring ourselves fully into teaching. So, as a teacher, we need to find the methods and the strategies that work best for our students. So you have to remember, no, that teachers are not standardized products. So what works for one teacher may not work for the other. Okay? Pwedeng mag-work sa akin, pwedeng hindi mag-work kay Sir Joey. So thus, all the teaching strategies that you learn should be adapted to fit your particular teaching situation. And syempre, hindi mawawala doon yung it should fit also your personal teaching style. Okay? So to be an effective teacher, you must carve out your own teaching philosophy and also discover your own unique talents and learn how to use them. So, bakit naman teaching is a craft? Bakit ko dinagdag na si teaching is a craft? A craft, to define it, is a skill or set of skills that is learned through experience. Pasensya na dun sa rooster. So this is exactly what teaching is. Ulitin ko, a craft is a skill or a set of skills learned through experience. So teaching is a complex, multi-dimensional endeavor. Meaning it is not something that can be mastered in 4 semesters or in 1 year or in 4 years, okay? Mastery of what you are, for example, kahit kay medical technologies, we have to master our craft. Hindi yan mag-i-stop after we graduate. Hindi yan mag-i-stop after we pass the board. So constant yung pag-learn natin, of everything kasi merong new innovations. Kaya nga, with continuous study and experience. So, paano natin makukuha yung continuous study? Through CPD or what we call as continuing professional development, webinars, seminars, and training. So, para maka-learn tayo ng bagong innovations. Okay? And also, you also have to remember that teaching does not only entail the teacher's knowledge of the subject matter that he or she is handling. Okay? Hindi lang dapat, okay, alam ko ang tinuturo ko. Pero it also involves how the learning material will be presented such that learning can become interesting and be presented in an organized manner. Okay? So let's go to the aspects of teaching. So aspects of teaching, merong leadership, merong instructional, and we have the organizational. Okay, as leaders, okay, teachers are leaders because we are the one who takes charge of all the activities inside the classroom to facilitate learning to our students. Kaya dito ulit pumapasok si planning. Okay? We plan how are we going to teach the topic to the student. Hindi lang basta pupunta ako sa klase ko na wala akong plano, wala akong particular activity or particular na nasa utak ko na basta ipepresent ko lang. No. Dapat merong planning yan. Okay? And then also motivating. Hindi lang ako basta magtuturo na wala akong pakialam na si student A hindi siya natututo or hindi siya namomotivate. We also motivate our students. So dito pumapasok yung gagamitin nating approaches on what approaches are we going to integrate to motivate you to study the subject. Okay. And also, we coordinate. We coordinate with our fellow teachers. I coordinate with Sir Joey regarding our subject. And also coordination between me as a teacher and you as a student. And then, syempre, instructional. So, hindi lang dito yung pumapasok yung face-to-face, no? So, during this time, which is yung pandemic, so online yung instruction natin. So, teaching is instructional because we give instructions directly to our students kapag face-to-face, and during online learning through we give instructions online, and it may be done asynchronously or synchronously, right? Aspects of teaching is also an organizational. Organizational because we teachers and students are part of a complex organization. Kunwari, dito sa AUF, isa tayong organization, kasama si student, kasama si teacher, kasama ang admin, kasama ang buong AUF dito. Okay? Because each one of us merong kinu-contribute to give you better learning experience. And also, we have to make sure that the materials that we present or the concepts are clear and learners follow easily because organized yung pagbibigay namin ng instructions sa inyo. So, yeah. So, the ultimate goal of teaching. The ultimate goal of teaching, lahat ito. Pero kaya ko to kinapitalize because teaching, kapag sinabi natin teaching, merong learning na nangyayari. That's why one of the ultimate goal of teaching is to promote learning. And then for the most part, learning takes place in many different circumstances, di ba? Although everyone is capable of learning, lahat tayo pwedeng matuto. Okay, walang excuse dyan. A student's desire to learn is vital to mastering new concepts, principles, and skills. Kaya nga, sinasabi nila before, no? Sorry for the word ha, walang estudyanteng bobo. Meron lang estudyanteng tamad. Okay? So, wala ring kwenta yung kahit magaling si teacher mo, kung ikaw mismo na estudyante, wala kang interest to learn the new concepts, to learn the principles of what your teachers are teaching. Okay? So, continuous improvement and innovation is one of the key steps for education, lalo na ngayong panahon na to. Okay? So, continuous yan. Kaya nga sabi ko, hindi lang tayo mag-i-stop na natapos mo na tong course na to, stop na tayo from learning. Hindi. Continuous yan. Okay? So, to promote learning is also because we need one of the ultimate goal of teaching is to assist you to become independent leaders and to become self-regulated learners. Paano namin kayo hahayaan to go on your own after you graduate if hindi kayo magiging independent? Kasi magagamit nyo yan na pag nasa internship kayo, most especially when you already work as medical technologists or push through pa rin yung iba as medical students. You have to be independent, okay? You have to know how to solve the problems on your own, and then this may also help uh, promote your critical thinking skills. Okay, uh, you go beyond a problem. Iisipin mo what caused this problem, anong gagawin ko to solve this problem. Okay. Also, here, to promote learning and to assist you to become independent learners and self-regulated learners, andito lang kami. The teachers will serve as guide in helping you to discover and maximize your abilities and learning. So the teaching functions naman. So the teachers play several roles for their students. So the following are the functions of a teacher. So daily review, presenting new materials, conducting guided practice, providing feedback and corrections, conducting independent practice, and weekly and monthly review. So to sum it all up, the primary role of teachers is to give or provide materials and thus impart knowledge to our students. Also, we also provide feedback and corrections in order for us to be assured that the new learning that we have imparted to you are correctly processed and learned. Okay, so we also teach you on how uh, to be and then to be independent in the future and apply everything that you have learned uh, in your day-to-day lives. And then also, you don't have to hate us no kapag we give you post-discussion activities, pre-discussion activities, especially quizzes. Kasi this is our way to gauge how much you have understood the topics or the subject that is being discussed. So dito sa Health Educ, napansin nyo, hindi kami madalas magbigay ng quiz. Kasi doon pa lang sa activities, nag-gauge na namin kung nakukuha nyo ba yung objective namin for that particular module. Hindi lang lahat dapat quiz. For Health Educ lang ha. Syempre, depende pa rin yan sa strategy ng mga teachers ninyo. Okay. And then also, this is also important to prepare you for the board exams and likewise to know what part of the subject you are having difficulty to. So especially during the internship, you will be handling actual patient samples and you will be the one to process them and i-release nyo yung resulta nila. So sa medtech, hindi pwedeng magkamali. Okay? Kasi results yung pinag-uusapan dyan eh. This is very crucial, especially for us who will be working in the laboratory in the future kasi nakadepende sa medtech yung resulta ng patients. And the doctor will rely on those results in order for him to diagnose the patient correctly. So the learning that the students have achieved or acquired will actually reflect or will actually be gauged when you apply them in the actual setting. Kaya nga, before namin kayo pakawalan sa internship, kailangan we are assured na marunong na kayo sa skills and alam nyo na lahat ang related dito sa subject natin. Okay. So on this part, we will be defining some terms in the teaching learning process. We have approach, methods, and technique. Okay, so minsan kasi nagkakaroon tayo ng confusion regarding this one. So we need to understand some concepts in order for us to differentiate the three to maximize the learning process. So let's start with the approach. So teaching approach is a set of principles or ideas about the nature of learning which is translated into the classroom. Okay. This is our way of looking at teaching and learning. So for example, what approaches are you going to apply in order for us to teach kindergarten students how to bake a cookie? Okay, so isipin nyo, anong klaseng approach? Bata yan, no? Kindergarten. So in here, the approach gives rise to the methods. Okay, from the approach, iisipin natin ano yung method. Kaya nga ito siya. Approach muna before we proceed to the method. And once we already know what method, alam na natin yung technique na gagawin natin. Okay? So ang tandaan natin, okay, that approach in teaching varies from one student to another. So meaning that the approach that I will be using to teaching how to bake a cookie to kindergarten students is different from teaching high school students how to bake. Di ba? Different approaches sila. Okay? So kaya nga approach can be defined as the selection of an instructional method, the appropriate, no? Appropriate selection of a given or of an instructional method that is based on a given approach. Okay? So the teaching also approach, sabi ko nga kanina, gives rise to methods in which we will be identifying now what particular techniques we will apply. So we have to identify first the kind of engagement we are going to employ in presenting the topic to our students. So will it be a student-centered, wherein we give more emphasis on our students? So mostly, kapag student-centered, si student halos lahat yung magdi-discuss. Okay? So, will it also be a teacher-centered? Kapag teacher-centered, nasa akin as a teacher yung limelight. Ako lahat halos yung magdi-discuss. Okay? We also, aside from the engagement, we also have to consider what is our focus for the topic. Will it be focused on the subject matter or will it be focused to the students? Okay, so different approaches, iisipin nyo yan. So, yung approach na naisip ko, hindi, yung tinuro ko sa inyo kunwari na approach, hindi dapat siya standardized na yun at yun na yung gagamitin ninyong approach. Depende pa rin sa inyo, depende pa rin sa teaching style ninyo. Okay? So, kaya nga isipin natin, no, si approach is the broadest of the three. Pag hindi mo alam si approach, you cannot think of the proper method. And likewise, hindi mo rin malalaman kung anong proper technique mo in presenting your subject. Okay? So because we have, before we teach a particular subject, we have to know first the approach before we will be creating a method, before we will be creating our technique. Okay? Next one, teaching method naman. So teaching method refers to the general principles and management strategies used for classroom instruction. So this is an organized, orderly, systematic, well-planned procedure employed by a teacher and consists of steps, okay, that are logically arranged to achieve the specific objective. Kaya nga meron kaming learning objective. Okay, kailangan by the end of the subject of the topic or the module, we have already assured that the students have achieved our objectives. Okay? So, paano natin ma-achieve yung objective? So, we will be thinking of methods for these objectives to be met by our students. So, for example, you organize your teaching method using yung teacher-centered, kumbaga, na-identify nyo na yung approach nyo kung will it be teacher-centered or will it be student-centered. Okay? So, kaya nga sa approach pa lang, kung na-identify nyo na kung gusto nyo teacher-centered, malalaman nyo na or you already have in your mind what particular method you will be using. Okay? So, kaya nga sabi siya, meron dito steps that are logically arranged. So, it is more of procedures since it includes an outline on how you are going to conduct your classes on how you are going to present the topic to your students. Meaning, you already identified what particular approach you are going to present your topic. Then with this, you can already identify what method you will use. And under this method, meron particular technique. For example, sa approach, yung kanina, no, kunwari, sinus na natin as an approach si teacher-centered approach. So most likely, yung method na gagawin mo is the lecture method. Okay? So purely, si teacher yung magsasalita and magdi-discuss. Okay? Teaching technique naman is a well-defined procedure used to accomplish a specific activity or task. So this is what actually takes place in the classroom na. It is the teacher style or the personalized style of the teacher to accomplish the objective. My technique in presenting a particular topic may be different from your other instructors. Say for example, kay Sir Joey, iba yung technique ko, iba yung technique niya. Okay? So a lot of teachers, kung napapansin nyo, no, are very fond of using the lecture method kasi ito yung pinakamadali. Okay? But it does not necessarily mean that all of them, all of your teachers will have the same way or style or technique in delivering the lecture to their students. Yeah, parehong lecture, pero paano yung style niya? Alright? So balikan natin yung kanina. So you have already identified the approach na teacher-centered. Okay? And then, the method to be used is the lecture method. So, anong technique yung pwede natin gamitin for this lecture method? I may think of different ways to deliver the lecture to my students. Pwedeng umpisa agad akong magdi-discuss ng topic right away, or pwedeng before I start with the lecture, I may add or employ some games muna, which is of course related sa topic. Pwedeng magpa-games muna ako, pwede akong magpakwento muna kung regarding dun sa experience no, which is syempre dapat consistent or related pa rin sa topic natin. And also, you have to remember, no, it should be consistent with the method. Kaya mamaya, kapag tinapik na natin yung teaching methods, so under those methods, merong particular techniques na pwedeng pagpilian doon. Okay.